If you saw Lisimba's eyes when I gave it to him, he was just like, oh my God.
I can't lie. I was like, oh, a gift for
I'm
me?
not sure. Are you sharing this? I love that laugh. He was just like, what did you just say the S word? Like, girl, you never share shit with me. I mean, not share with me, but share. I personally, I wouldn't, but you know, I'd let them have a taster, but you know.
Yeah, they might get a taste.
But I want to see that shit in the fridge when I get home every single day.
Oh, I don't know. Like, oh, so, okay, storing this, do I have to keep it in the fridge?
Preferably in the fridge.
Okay, cool. So
you can't hide it in your bedroom. I know you guys ain't trying to put shit in the fridge. You're like, this is straight in my bedroom, bitch.
Hey everybody, and welcome back for another episode of Juice and the Sauce podcast. As always, you're joined by your hosts Lisimba and Nastassja.
Hi.
So this podcast is the show that chops up and serves you life topics narrated through the love of food and, most importantly, desserts. Charismatic random stories for a sweet entree, followed by a meaty main course discussion and recommended flavours from the continent and...
You were nearly there. I was like, I've been rooting for you.
You're rooting for me, yeah? You're cheering my corner.
I have.
Okay, cool. So a meaty main course of discussion and recommended flavours from the continent to round up this foodie delight of a podcast.
You know what? One day we're going to shorten it.
Yeah, I think
we're going to shorten it because there's no way that, it's a mouthful.
Yeah, or maybe I just need to like practice it more and then just like come up and then bam.
I think you're doing really well. Like,
thank you.
You're doing better than I would.
Thank you.
That's really, really well. And I'm not being sarcastic. I'm actually being real.
Oh, thank you. Well, maybe shorten it, like you said.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So how you been? How's your week been?
I've had a really good week, I've been good. It's been physically exhausting, but mentally very stimulating.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming up to Christmas. Funny, somebody asked me like what my Christmas is looking like this year. And if I'm being honest, I don't know how candid I can be. Okay, let me just hold it there, actually. I'm actually quite busy, like, from the 26th up until New Year. I'm busy before Christmas, but from the 26th to the New Year, it's just kind of like, is it everybody's birthday?
Oh, wow, back to back, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty much that. I don't really have, like, I'm relaxing on Christmas, like let's say the 24th and the 25th, like don't talk to me in it. And then from the 26th to the 28th, I'm on point. And yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, there's a part of me that didn't feel like I was going to be here by this end of the year. So I was very kind of like, I didn't really know how my year was going to be. I just felt like I'm not sure if I'm going to make it through to the end of the year. So that's why I feel like, but I'm here, which is good.
So wait, when you say not here, what do you mean? Like you were going to go on holiday, you were going to move abroad, you were going to...
No. Just mentally, I didn't think I was going to make it. I think because my year I've had such a roller coaster year, and it's been just it's been a very kind of, what's the word? What's a good word to put? It's been a very pressing year, and it's had me in the maddest roller coaster, more mentally and just life-wise, that I felt I'm not sure if I'm going to make it through the end of the year and still be doing what I love. But I'm here, and I'm very thankful and grateful for that. I don't know, maybe a lot of people are going to be able to resonate. Maybe you want me to elaborate more, but I think I will elaborate more in the episodes to come. And just, yeah. Because it's I feel like this year has been such a very personal journey for me. And in ways that I've been pressed to kind of evolve. And it's just been, it's the year started off quite wild, and it's ended up very very kind of placid and I'm full of gratitude. I'm very, very grateful in the position that I am. And everything that's happened this year has been an evolution for myself. I've had good moments. I've had very good moments. I've had great moments. I've had sparks of greatness. And then I've just had times where it's just been like, this is actually shit. This is actually shit. And it's very funny because obviously people will see, you on IG and social media, you put out what you want people to see. Mm-hmm. And not want people to see, but it's more for me, it's more of a business channel. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, like parts of me feel like I've been on top of my life more than I've been on top of business, but I think it's needed to be done. Mm-hmm. Because without me, there is no indulgent sugar plum, mm-hmm. you know. And so, yeah, I'm grateful. So I've had a great week. I did the fair on Thursday.
How did that go?
That was really good, you know. It was small. Mm-hmm. I'm not complaining. I think, you know what it is like, sometimes I'm one of those people who are sometimes when I'm on my own cloud, I'm just like, yes. But you know what it was great for? It's okay. Like I made at the end of it, I made like very good contacts, and I haven't done a stall for a very long time, and it was a small one, which I was very grateful for in the end, because at least it wasn't madly intensive. And when you're doing stalls, people want to talk. Not that I don't like talking, hence why I'm here, but it's more one of those things where it's just like, man, like I have to have the energy. But I was really grateful. It was small, it was beautiful, it was really lovely. All the vendors were really, really lovely, which was really nice. I wanted to bring you these plantain crisps, but I'm going to buy them again. It's because she didn't stay till the end.
Did you eat them?
I did try them.
Okay.
There was a really wild flavour, not wild as in bad, but it was very out there.
Okay. It
was rosemary salt plantain crisp.
Okay.
And she had the ginger salt plantain crisp. Yeah, so they were very different. And those are the ones I'm going to actually get them so you can try them. Because I actually wanted to make them flavour of the continent this week. But we're going to do them when I get them.
Just let you know that I'm not big on ginger though.
Okay, that's fair.
So,
well, obviously there's another flavour you can try.
But what's interesting though, you know that thing for like that wrap we got? Like, what's it called again? Pleasant Lady.
Yes.
It's got ginger in there, funny enough. But I liked it, but it's...
I think it depends on how you cook the ginger. I think, like me, I don't like raw garlic because it makes my stomach is very sensitive, but cooked, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't like ripe tomatoes. I like them when they're quite hard. But because
almost green.
Not almost green, but very firm ones. And that's because it's the acidity levels of the acidity levels of the actual fruit or veg.
Yeah.
That's what we tend to react to.
Interesting, because I actually like bananas that are almost green.
Exactly. I couldn't eat that.
Really? You like them nice and ripe?
I have to have them like when they're about to, like when people are just like, that banana looks awful. That's when I eat them.
Fair enough. I can't.
Because if I ate a banana like that, I'd get my stomach will cramp up. Like I'd literally just like go into some sort of IBS syndrome.
What's?
Irritable bowel syndrome. Sorry, no, it's actually you're laughing. It's not funny. Like no, I'm laughing because of the way you.
I didn't know what it was.
I know, and then obviously itself, IBS is actually something very, very serious. I actually thought like this year that I actually suffered from IBS, but the doctor said I didn't. But then again, I still feel like I need to go for another test. Because when I eat certain foods, it cramps up my stomach to a point that I'm like literally, it's so painful. I had a really serious... The thing is, he said it could be IBS, but it's very hard to diagnose because it's basically, it is what it is. It's in the name, irritable bowel syndrome. So it's food that irritates your bowel to a point where you get cramps and you get kind of keel over. Like, so there's certain foods that I know, like, I won't eat because I know it irritates my stomach.
Yeah, I know this is kind of related, but not related. Maybe this is a bit too much information, but like, so for those that don't know, I'm on like immunosuppressants, which basically like dampers my whole like immune system and stuff like that. So I have to, I guess, be very cautious with like, especially like food, especially if I get food poisoning. At one point, yeah, maybe this is a bit much information, but at one point I had this thing where I ate something that obviously gave me food poisoning.
Yeah.
I was in the bathroom, and this is not an exaggeration. I wish it was, yeah. Every 9 to 10 minutes, right? And that was not fun at all. That was painful. It was just, it was not
Yeah.
fun. Yeah. Switching topics, I just want to touch on briefly. I do want to send out my condolences to Gary Rhodes, who passed away recently.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that. He's someone that I guess I saw a lot of morgue when I was growing up.
Yeah, definitely. I was actually, funny enough, I was going to actually mention this too. I'm so glad that you brought it up. Because I was talking to my mum this morning about it, and she said she didn't know. And I was like, okay, well, he passed away. Is it earlier this week? Earlier this week. And Gary Rhodes, it was actually one of the first chefs to bring cooking to TV. And he's one of the chefs that, like Lisimba said, like, I grew up watching Gary Rhodes and Ready Steady Cook. And funny enough, he was one of the first chefs that inspired me to bake as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In my head, I always wanted to work for Gary Rhodes Bakery before I actually had my own bakery. And it's such a, it's a big loss for the chefing world, because he was really one of the pioneers for bringing food to TV and having a style and flair to it as well. And growing up, you always knew it was Gary Rhodes because of his hair, That is true. And his signature kind of style was his hair. So condolences to Gary Rhodes and his family at this time, because it's a big loss. Our flavour from the continent this week comes from
Wing Wing,
which is it Korean or is it Japanese? I'm not sure. I want to actually want to get this right. It is fried chicken. I'm a huge fan of like Korean fried chicken or Chinese fried chicken or Japanese fried chicken. Anything from the East, fried chicken wise, I am in love.
So it's Korean?
It's Korean fried chicken. And I've seen Wing around for a couple of years now, and I've really wanted to try it, but I've never got the opportunity. But now, obviously, doing a food podcast, we have the opportunity to try these good things and expand my waistline in ways that I've never imagined before, but all for good causes.
That's the best bit of the podcast, though. Like, looking forward to food that we actually like, but we've never. So just like disclaimer, we've not tried this before.
So I've not tried this before, and we've never tried this. We like to try things that we've both not tried before, but even if there's something that I've tried, I really want to introduce Lisimba to, and vice versa. Like the cookies last week, I actually went home thinking about those cookies.
Oh, really?
I did pass the Sainsbury's and thought, should I get some? But then again, I thought, you know what, Nastassja, Christmas is coming. Ease yourself. Pause. You do not need to rush. There's no need to rush, okay? But yeah, Wing. So we've ordered 2 sets of flavours. Can I get... I just want a snapshot inside, because...
So one of them is soy garlic.
Soy garlic is like one of my favorite flavors. And then the other one is licorice. We've ordered them to be double brushed. So double seasoning, double the flavor, double the everything. And we've also ordered seafood fries as well. So we're going to just like tuck in.
Yeah, so one's seaweed seasoning and the other one's skinny fries, just like it's their regular salt.
Yeah.
How do they smell to you?
They smell seaweedy. I don't know. They smell like the ocean. Like, my descriptions and stuff is like sometimes a bit wild, but it does smell like the ocean, and it does smell like seaweed and stuff like that. So, cheers to the ocean.
The thing is, like, crispy seaweed from like is it Chinese, right? Mm-hmm. Crispy, like that stuff's banging. I love that stuff.
Yeah, I love crispy seaweed. But is it even seaweed though?
That I don't know. They say it is. That's what it says on the menu, right? Let me try it.
They're actually really good. The thing about it, one thing about me is I don't like really, I like very gentle flavors, mm-hmm. because I feel like if you have those really harsh flavors, you kind of don't get to taste the flavor of the actual product. You don't taste the product itself. All you have is a load of flavoring in your mouth. And I like very subtle, gentle flavors where you can have a balance of both, because what your taste buds do is once it's tasted something, once it's caught the essence of the flavor of something, it literally expands the more you eat that thing. So imagine eating something very harshly flavored. All that's your taste buds like just burn out on that flavor.
Okay. This I didn't know, but yeah, but like, so in what you're saying, this compared to like Nando's peri peri chips, fries, whatever you want to call them, like, are just like scattered in that peri peri season. This is a lot more subtle. It's not spicy at all. But yeah, these are very tasty.
They're very Moorish. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Very, very Moorish.
800. Should we check out the wings?
Yes.
Which one's that one?
I couldn't tell you.
All right, so we're going to find out one way or another.
Yeah.
Let me open.
I think this one's good. I think that's a G, so I'm guessing it's garlic.
Okay.
And that one's licorice. It makes sense.
How do the wings smell to you?
I haven't really smelt the wings. But then again, they smell good. Tis the season of like all, slightly stuffy nose. So
yeah, I got hit up last week. I get ill if I don't sleep properly. So last week I felt ill for like a year. Sorry, not for a year, for the week. But you know what's really interesting? Mm-hmm. So I've just gotten into like turmeric in my tea, because I understand, especially in the Asian culture, like turmeric in tea is like a good remedy. Yeah. So I tried it when I was ill. This stuff works.
Okay, no, I haven't. Does it work?
Yeah. So having like a turmeric. So what I did is I found some turmeric teas. Yeah. And then what I did is I put like half a teaspoon of turmeric in there. Yeah. That stuff works. Like, I really started to feel better after taking some turmeric. So I definitely recommend it.
I'm going to try it. I'm a honey and lemon with a shot of rum in it. Rum. And I think that has ceased to work on me, because I think I'm just enjoying the rum at this present moment. Yeah, but I'm like that. I'm traditional honey and lemon that would literally just flush it out of me. If I've really got a deep cold, I'll put a shot of rum or any kind of dark whiskey or any cognac that's in there, just blah, blah, just a shot. But I'm gonna try the turmeric, because somebody else has told me like turmeric is like it works for everything.
No, 100%. So I guess my parents' background come from the same school of thought of like rum and lemon and stuff like that. It really does work. But I just want to try something different, and that turmeric stuff works. Cool. Let's dive into these wings. So I got the licorice one, I think.
Yeah. So unfortunately, you're gonna have to watch me eat, or hear me eat, hear me chew.
I like this. This is good.
It's good. You know what I like about this? It's not hella greasy.
So this reminds me
And
of...
it's so crispy. So good.
This one reminds me of aromatic duck.
Okay.
Like, the flavour, like, it's got that kind of taste to it. But as you say, it's not too greasy. Now I can understand why, like, okay, cool. Like, so when we cut this, you were scrolling through and I saw like you were going to like the boxes of 50. I was like, hey, do you know what I mean? Like,
you could order a box of 50 by yourself and literally.
But now I can see how you can do that.
Yeah, you can wax these by yourself, for yourself. I mean, I want to try the licorice one, but
I think I could do 20.
Yeah, I could probably do about 12. But
these are good though.
Yeah, the licorice one's bang.
Oh, so you're not feeling the other one too much?
You know what? I like soy and garlic, but I know what I'm gonna expect. But with the licorice ones, yeah, it reminds me of. I get it, like the duck. Yeah.
So this is interesting. I saw a post the other day on Facebook about like what's the best way to eat your wings. Like, do you clean off the bone? Do you leave the ends? Are you I gotta get that marrow inside?
I think I saw that post. I go like this.
So for our listeners, there's tiny bits on the end, maybe.
To be honest, if this wasn't being filmed, I would wax it all off. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna wax it all off. I don't eat the marrow. Okay. I've seen people eat the marrow, and I'm just like, yo. But it's funny. We're talking about my sister's friend last week at Reggae Brunch, where she doesn't like chicken on the bone, and I looked. I mean, I didn't look at her funny because it was just kind of, I looked at her and I was like, yeah, I get it, but I'm just like, chicken on the bone, that's, the closer you get to, that's the sweetest. I mean, I don't really like chicken breast. I find chicken breast, like, you overcook that by like a couple of minutes, and that shit is dry.
Yeah, that's true, because like, I love breast, but getting breast juicy, like a juicy breast, sounds so wrong, but getting a juicy breast is so hard to do. I can't do it properly, but I appreciate a juicy breast whenever you can do one. But 9 times out of 10, getting a nice juicy like meat on the bone, like a thigh or something like that, it's easier, and I play it safer like that, especially when I go out. Like if you want to order something, you don't want to take that risk of getting like a dry breast. So
I definitely feel that it's juicier the more you have the bone in it. The more the bone is involved, the juicier that it is. That's my take on it. Chicken breast is dry,
but it's tended to get like, I say they like burgers and stuff.
Okay. In a burger, you've got all the sauces. I mean, when I cook chicken breast, like I like to put little scores in it, and then just also marinate inside of it. And I'm one of those people who check it like every couple of minutes. Put the marinade back in it, so it hits the core. But with a breast, I just think it's. Oh, I mean, not with a breast. With a chicken on a bone, a thigh, a leg, it just gets juicier. It retains the moisture.
Yeah, no, I can agree. You know what? You I don't know if you tried it. Have you tried a sunset burger at Nandos?
Not yet.
That is nice. So I remember the first time I went, and because I always get like half chicken, 2 chips, 1 peri. So here's what you do, right? I used to get a lot, half a chicken, medium, 1 peri chips, and then 1 garlic bread with a peri mayo, right? And then what I do is get the breast, because it's a bit dry. I cut the breast out. Put that in the garlic bread, get the peri peri mayo, slap that up on both sides, and I got myself a garlic chicken breast sandwich up in Nandos. That's what I used to do regular. Right?
Yeah.
But then I was just like to lady, hey, like what can I try different? That's whatever. She said, try the Sunset Burger. I think they use like a thigh in it. But this thing's juicy, like the sauce just be dripping. Yeah, sauce be dripping, yeah. So anybody that hasn't tried that, like that's 100% one to try.
Okay, I'm going to try the Sunset Burger. When I go to Nando's, I actually don't want burger though. I just want chicken. I want thigh, leg, chicken. I just want straight up chicken. I used to get like I tried their wrap. Actually, the one wrap that I really, really love when I'm on my vegetarian tip is the sweet potato.
Sweet potato wrap?
Yeah, they do this sweet potato wrap. I think, is it got avocado in it? I'm not sure. But there's a wrap that they do with sweet potato. It's like the vegan, on their vegan vegetarian menu. It is really, 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 really good. But I love, one of the things like, I mean, I love fries and I love the peri peri fries. But one thing also I love in Nando's is the sweet potato wedges with the yogurt and the seeds on top. Those
Never
bang.
had that. It's nice.
Those bang. Those bang. It's funny because whenever I'm with a friend and I order it, they're like, you always order the strangest shit in Nando's. Like, like macho peas. What the fuck is nacho peas? And like, whenever I go to Nando's, I'm like, can I have macho peas? And everybody's like, what the fuck is macho peas? Like, you really order the things that are just like, everybody comes with a standard, and I'm just like, and you come with Nastassja and she's like, can I get sweet potato wedges? Can I get macho peas? And I'm like, macho peas, bang. And then they're like, but what is it? I'm just like, it's basically garden peas with a mint and a chili dressing, and they're really delicious, and I love it. And like, that's my alternative. Like, if I'm not, you know, like, when I'm in my head, I'm on a diet and I don't want chips, I will do, or any kind of carbs, I'll go for the macho peas and what else do I order? There's something else that I order as well. It's not a salad. It's a macho peas and
Sweet corn?
the sweet corn.
Sweet corn there's nice, like with the butter and all of that.
So that's what I order: macho peas, the sweet corn, and sometimes I'll go for macho peas just macho peas and like chicken leg or double chicken leg, whatever I'm feeling. Yeah, but try it. I like macho peas.
I can't lie. I don't think I'm gonna rush to try that just anytime soon. But you know, when I'm next feeling bored, I guess I might try that, or or if I'm there with someone and someone gets it, then I'll try a bit. But yeah, I need to get you that Sunset Burger. Maybe we can do that for like one flavour of the continent or something.
All right.
And then
and macho peas.
all right, cool. We'll make it happen. Do they have tissues in the bag?
They do have like little wipes. So the soy and garlic one is really, really good.
So, okay, cool. So I guess I gave an opinion on the licorice ones, but not the garlic ones. I get what you mean.
You know what you're going to get.
It's nice, right? But had I not tasted the licorice ones, I would have been more happy with the garlic. Because tasting licorice ones made me think, oh wow, like those licorice ones, those are really, really nice. So yeah, but I would recommend it. I'll definitely I will have them again. I'm glad I have them now.
Okay, yeah. And just for reference, like, we ordered this off of Deliveroo, but I would definitely go in Wing Wings and have like this. Not that it's not fresh, but you know what I mean. Like, eat it as soon as it comes out.
Oh, what do you mean?
On service, like, definitely, So we've ordered this off Deliveroo, and the service this time for Deliveroo was impeccable. You know. Again, you know what? Big up my fam at Deliveroo. You know, I've had some bouts with you guys where you always come through. But this was good. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I've been waiting to taste wing wing for like a couple of years. Like, and when I say a couple of years, it's because I always used to see it on whenever I was driving through Euston, well, driving on my way towards Euston, going off to North London during my wedding trips or whatever, wherever I'm going. I used to pass it, and I'd be like, man, that wing wing place looks nice, but I've only seen one shop. And I'm not sure. And yeah, and so like I'd be like, oh, but it's always packed, so it looks good. And it's always packed with Korean people. Let me pronounce that right. So I was just like, if their own people are eating it, it must be good. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, there's a few like Chinese shops close to where you are in Soho where they got a queue of Chinese people outside. So if they're eating it, then it must be good. But I guess you're coming from similar to me in that I don't like. I wanted to try it, but I don't like experimenting when I'm hungry.
That's the thing.
Because you don't want to buy it and then you're hungry and it's like you're not going to eat it, so you're going to waste all that money anyway. So it's like, you know.
And that's the difficulty is like when I'm hungry, I want to just know that I'm going to like what I'm going to get because it's a certified belly full.
100%.
Certified belly full situation.
I like that.
But when you're hungry and you taste and you go out there and experiment and you're just like, fam, this is just not the one. It's not hitting the angles of my belly like it usually does. That's when you're just like, fuck's sake. £15, £20 gone.
So it's for that reason why I go to McDonald's. I don't necessarily like it that much, but I just know what I'm going to get and they're going to deliver, whether it's time or the taste of the food. That's probably why I go.
And I'm with you on that one. Like, if I'm being honest, yeah, I swear we talk about McDonald's and on every single episode.
So, yeah.
You know what? I honestly, people must think we must be sponsored by McDonald's. Secretly, we're not sponsored by McDonald's, but
No.
so McDonald's is just such a good reference from our childhood. Maybe McDonald's should sponsor us at this stage.
Maybe. Did we grill them in one episode about
We
something?
did, but you know, it to be honest, funny enough, like on my you know what happened today on my IG? I went onto my IG on my way here, and guess what ad popped up?
What?
The McDonald's coffee, the new festive
Oh,
coffee.
really?
Yeah, that was just like either my phone is, you know what? It's one of those like my FBI agent must be so on point because he knows I'm going to record a podcast and we were talking about this last week, how the coffees don't look, how the festive menu don't look like. But on this ad, the coffees looked like the ad, and I was just like, wow.
So you know what I was going to say? I went out last week and I was telling someone about what we spoke about.
Yeah.
And then the pictures didn't have all the cream and da-da-da-da. So did your ad have that? Because I think they removed it. Really?
The ad that they showed had the cream and it looked delightful to the point I was like, maybe I should hit up McDonald's for a festive. Maybe I should just go in there and order a coffee and just see if it looks like the picture and then do a comparison and then send it to them. That's what I'm going to do. I think that's what we're going to do this week. That's our task this week. To go into a McDonald's to order a festive coffee or hot chocolate, whatever it is, and then see if it actually comes out, and then snapshot it and then send it to them and say, is this really your product?
But you know, like we're setting ourselves up to fail, right?
I know, but it's just one of those things that I feel like I should do. Since the ads keep on popping up on my phone for no apparent reason.
Sure. Fair enough. Okay. I also wanted to tell you, actually, I went to Karma Kitchen in East London this week. So basically that's like, you know, I guess I speak a lot about this whole cloud kitchen stuff.
Yeah.
So like it's basically co-working spaces for kitchens.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Really?
It really is amazing. Yeah. So like there's a few people on Instagram that are already like using their facilities at the moment. They got plans to open up in like Camden, one in Canary Wharf as well. Speaking to the guy, he was just telling us about how brands are just exploding out there. Some people have had to leave from getting too big, and other ones upgraded from like the communal area, I guess, or shared kitchen space to their own space. And it's perfect. They got like a few different shifts that you can use. I think it's 3 shifts throughout the day, and then some people come in, just operate their kitchen, then disappear, Some people just come in, operate the kitchen for delivery or Uber Eats purposes, then disappear. Like, it's so
Can
perfect.
you give one example of a food company?
That use it?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So, one set of guys that are there, they make shrimp. They're on Instagram, and they make shrimp hot and juicy, hot and juicy, hot and juicy shrimp, London.
Okay.
So yeah, and they're doing their thing,
Okay.
making shrimp in there. They weren't there when I was there, but yeah. Look, so I guess anybody that's searching for kitchen space, like me, I can't make food out of my home for commercial purposes.
Yeah.
So this is just great. It's absolutely amazing for anybody that wants to do it.
The funny thing is, it gives me so many ideas, especially me being a baker and knowing how many people just bake at home. That is just another just a baking kitchen for people who bake. That's just whoever watches this and just takes my idea at this present moment in time, just understand I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you, because that's actually one of my visions for 2020 is actually to create a baking community. I know this sounds really weird, and you think, oh, but there is a baking community, and I'm just like, yeah, there's a baking community of people who just bake on their own. And I've spoken about this on episodes before of how baking can be really lonely, and that's really it sounds really weird, but if you're just like me, I just like to do my bespoke orders. I work predominantly by myself, even though I've got a load of people who want to come and work with me. I think I'm just rebuilding my confidence in that department to actually open up my doors again like that. Basically, you have a load of people who run their businesses from home, and they just bake from home, and it's that one moment that you probably need something really, you're in a mid order and you're just like, oh fuck, I'm out, I need one more sheet of gold leaf, but the shops don't open. I need to get this order out the door by like 12 o'clock. The shop doesn't open till like 10 o'clock, and it's just like the finest line. And it's that moment where if you had that community, you could call someone and go, hey, do you have gold leaf? I just need a couple of sheets. Can you send it over in an Uber, or can I come and collect it? And you pay that person within your community, within that baking community. And that's one of my goals for 2020, because as much as I'm happy, I'm happy to be alone in my kitchen and bake. For me, that's like the dream. I love a team aspect, and I also love working by myself. But building that community of people who become, and I've spoken to other bakers about this, and they've been like, oh my gosh, Nastassja, if you start that, like, I'm so down for it, because I so get it. It's like, you want to use a particular stencil, but you don't really want to spend £30 on it, because you're only going to use that stencil once. But if the baker down the road has it, and they can loan it out to you for a price, and if you damage it, there's a damage fee as well. That would be amazing. And I was just like, okay, cool. We're going to do this 2020. Once again, if somebody does this idea, like, I'm coming for you. Like, seriously, after hearing this. But anyway, it's not even that I'm coming for you. We all have an opportunity to start communities and ideas. And it's something that I've been speaking to with a lot of my baker friends, people that I've met from Instagram, people that I know that bake in just real life, and just to bridge that gap and come together. I mean, in the fashion world, it's the same. I come from the world of art and fashion, and it's very, very like that. But I've noticed in the baking community, it's not like that, or I'm probably not a part of that. But creating that, and then expanding it to other regions, which would be really good. And the funny thing is, what confirmed this idea was I was actually watching stories from baker friends that I speak to over in Australia, and they have that. They basically, they went out. There's a couple of ladies that I follow. One lady that I speak, we have chats from time to time. Really lovely. She's one of the first people as well. Before the IG revolution, I actually followed her on Facebook, and then on IG. Is it Cupcakes to Cupcakes? I don't want to get the name wrong, but I know it. Yeah. And I was watching her stories the other day, and she all of the bakers in her kind of region in Australia, they all went out for a Christmas dinner, and they all bought like different desserts for them to share and stuff like that. And it looked so beautiful. And it was like one of the quotes, one of the taglines that one of them used, I think it was from Ivy Stones. It's just like, she said, it's so great to have baker friends and create a community and support each other through their endeavors. And that's exactly what I want to create for, like, I don't want to say London-based bakers, but UK-based bakers. And that, when I saw that, that was just like, that confirmed that, yes, I'm going to do it.
100%. I think you, I think you should do it. I think it's an amazing idea. So, like, I guess for those that...
Sorry, I just, like, sniffled so hard. Sorry, I've got the sniffles going.
It's all good. For those that remember, this is going back, like...
Sorry, just to correct, I knew it wasn't cupcakes to cupcakes. It's cakes to cupcakes. That's it. And she's really lovely.
Cool. Yeah, so one thing I was going to say, one thing I guess I tend to look out for is I look at, like, ideas from the past and look at how they can be, like, reiterated, I guess, in modern time. Sorry, I got sniffles now as well. Maybe it's the wings. So, sorry. Basically, there's a fly, sorry. Just hitting it away. Yeah, basically, looking at things that happened in the past and looking at ways we can reiterate them. And one of them, I'm not sure if you come across this before. There was something called link exchange many years ago. You know about that at all?
No.
Okay, cool.
Was that LinkedIn in the beginning?
No.
Okay,
So
cool.
this for all the dinosaurs listening, and I am one of those dinosaurs as well, is the days of, like, Lycos, MSN.
Oh, okay. No. If I'm being honest, like, growing up, I wasn't really mad tech savvy. Like,
really?
I mean, MSN was like the standard. Then there was, I think it was like Bolt or whatever it was called.
Okay.
I wasn't a MySpace kind of person. I think that was just, I always was just like, MySpace is beyond me.
Sure.
And it was funny because, like, one of my friends who I didn't think she was all about that kind of MySpace thing, because she was very, like, reserved and very kind of, like, she was very prudish growing up. It was really weird. But then when I saw her outside of school, she was a different person. I was just like, okay. But, you know, it was funny because what I thought, for me, MySpace was really above me. Like, I never logged into MySpace. I think the only time I went to MySpace was when someone told me to go and see their MySpace page for something. And I was like, okay. Yeah, and this girl she was just like, yeah, I'm on MySpace and I meet so many people. And I was just like, I looked at her and thought, weird. Well, I didn't think weird. I was just like, that is so different. You're not the person who... you play yourself to be in school. Anyway, but shit like that happened. But yeah, MySpace, I literally started getting into social networking because of my course all the way back in the day of fashion, because they used to post up, we had a fashion group and they were like, if you want to know what's happening in the fashion course, you have to join Facebook. So it was by force. Okay. It was actually by force. I wasn't trying to. I don't think I'm even still trying to do. I think it's work, and knowing that this is understanding that this is the new way of another way. I don't say the new way, but another stream of communication, which is very popular.
Sure. So, in those days, I didn't have a MySpace myself. I had Facebook and other things. But in those times, so people used to make websites and put them in places like, I think it was called Tripod. Another one was called GeoCities and things like that. But the problem is that this is before Google days, right? Like, finding a website or finding, audience that are similar or content that's similar to yours was quite hard, right?
Yeah.
So basically what you used to do, there was this thing called link exchange, right? So what you do is you get a community of people that make similar content. So let's say it's baking, right? You got a baking website, he's got one, like 4 or 5 of you. You'd all get together and you do this link exchange where basically it's like a rotation. So if I go to your website, I can browse your content, but then there's a link that goes to person number 2.
Oh, okay.
And then number 2 has one that goes to number 3, number 4, and then back to you.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's like a circle.
Okay.
Right. And it was great and then you can sign up to these big platforms that allow you to, rotate around like-minded people, and it shows some adverts in there. And that's how they made money and stuff. But what I find it interesting to what you're saying is just like bringing that community together. It's just the same thing repeating itself again. And people are either A, looking for ways to get heard, or B, looking for help.
Yeah.
And just speaking to like-minded people is just the way to do it.
I think for me, it's building a community that, that we all, perpetuate each other. I think one of the things is, as much as we're all in competition with each other, we've got to realize that we're all different and people come to us for different purposes. Not every day someone's going to come and want a artistic cake from my company. Sometimes someone just wants something really, really basic that they can go to another, I wouldn't say basic, that's the wrong word, something really subtle and gentle to another company for. And we all serve the same customer, but in different events and for different purposes. It's just like, for example, I will probably go to Primark for a quick white tea at this present moment because I need to I don't want to spend a lot. I just want a plain white t-shirt for a really quick photo shoot. But for long-term purposes, I will go to Marks and Spencer's for a white t-shirt that's not going to go left after a couple of washes.
Same.
Do you get what I mean?
100%.
And I don't want to say that's like the baking community, but we all serve the same customer, but for different purposes, for different events, for different seasons. So building a community that literally we help build each other up in that sense, there is no harm in that. That's only making us greater. A lovely kind of saying that one of my friends says, it's the rising tide. Like, we all rise together. And instead of like bashing each other down, we rise together. We don't use each other as planks. We're all ladders for success for each other. And funny enough, like I've been going through my IG feed, and the same conversation amongst bakers keep on coming up. One will always be pricing. We're not going to talk about that. That's set its own precedent. But the second one that really keeps on coming up really recently is imitation.
Okay.
And I've spoken about imitation, and it's funny because this week as well, a couple of people, for the past 2 weeks, a few bakers have been tagging me in cakes that they've created that I've inspired them to, which I find highly, highly, highly like, I don't even know how to put it into words. I want to say grateful, but I don't think that's the right word. But
flattered.
I don't even think flattered is the word, because flattered is like, oh, I'm flattered. I'm flattered. I'm grateful. I'm just like, wow. Like, I think it was a very kind of wow moment for me, that I was like, wow. That, not to say that I don't know that that I inspire people, but the fact that I've had this, like, a couple of people tagging me like, yo, I took this design from Miss Sugar Plum's page, and she's such a huge inspiration for me, and it's been an honor for me to recreate this cake, because I mean the purpose is, when you post up a picture and someone wants your cakes, or a bride wants your cake, but you're too far out, and they go to their favorite baker and say, can you recreate that? It is a toll and a half for that baker to kind of look at it and go, well, first of all, I'm not her. Secondly, I wouldn't know where to start. And thirdly, I have my own style. You know what I mean? So I understand that's a toll, because when people show me pictures of cakes, if it's not my own, I'm just like, well, I'm not going to do what's in the picture. I'll take the essence of it and I'll recreate my own, because for me, imitating somebody else is not It's not my forte. And I'm not that kind of an artist anyway. I can't replicate somebody else's work, because I feel like there's three types of artists in the world. There's people who can replicate somebody to the absolute T. I'm not that one. There's people who are they're good at like creating their own scenarios, creating their own inspiration. That's more me. And then there's people who can do both and just inspired by life and just be able to do both. And that conversation about imitating cake makers, and I just want to say, like, it's not just in cake, it's just in life itself. I get, like, it's so hard to find your own voice when there are so many voices speaking on platforms, and you go and you're always tempted to go, oh, I want to do, I can replicate this, I can replicate that. And I get that for some people, when you imitate their work, it's like, you aggravate them more, because it's just like, oh, do you understand how long it took me to come up with that design? And you're out there. But like somebody said, like a good quote, like, imitation is a form of flattery, is the highest form of flattery. For me, I can truly say that when somebody, it depends I've had people imitate my work and not tag me. And I think that's screwed with my mind, in the sense of, like, fam, you did not come up with that. That's me. And I kind of get into, that's my ego playing out, But now, when I see people and I know, like, that's I'm a direct inspiration for them, I'm highly, highly, highly flattered. Like, I'm like, whoa, like, I'm glad that you're using, I can only be so grateful that I'm one of your points of reference. Because it is hard to find your cake voice. It's hard to find your own natural. And for me, I can tell you, it's taken me years, and I am still on that. It's a never ending journey. You just don't find it and stay there, what some people may do, but I found it and I still want to evolve it, and that's why it's taken me a long time to want to teach, because I'm still in the process. I'm forever in my process of finding my cake voice and evolving myself and being the best version of myself. And that's a conversation that I keep on seeing. And I read one snippet of a blog that I need to read fully, where another baker says, people actually need to stop copying. Don't follow other cake makers. Follow what inspires you. And I think that's very difficult to say, because we all inspire each other. Like, for me, it's like, there would be, when I look at art, just in general, I don't think there would be a Van Gogh if there wasn't, like, a Matisse. There wouldn't be a Renaissance if there wasn't this person, this person, this person. We've all been inspired by somebody and by something. So therefore, I think it's just evolving yourself, really, and spending time with yourself.
No, I
like, you can have so many burger companies. Like, there's so many burger companies. There's so many fried chicken companies, but it depends on how you season your chicken. Do you get what I mean? And it's the same way as in the art community or the baking community. You just need to find the right spice for you and make that you.
Well, look, they say there's no new ideas, right?
True.
Everything has been like done. Interesting thing on that, not sure if you know, I forgot if you Google it, you'll find it, but basically every book in the world that's been written or is going to be written has already been written, right?
I can believe that, because every film, when you look at films or when you read books, it's kind of like there's some books with the same, there's a similar narrative, or there's a similar kind of like, the similar kind of story. It's a similar story. It's like the Disney stories, the princess stories.
Yeah.
Snow White, Cinderella, what's the other one? Sleeping Beauty, the Rapunzel. It's the same storyline but different settings.
No, 100%. But this one's even deeper, right? Okay. So, for example, like the cookbook you and your mum was going to write, it's already written, right?
Yeah.
Now, remember this, right? Because when you write it, basically, if you, in this, I'll try to put a link to this website in the description, right? But if you type in even like your name, your mum's name, and it will find what page it's on, and It's actually a website you can search. And it's got,
really?
Yeah. Every single book ever. So what it's basically done is use some kind of algorithm, whatever, to create every single book. So basically, the trade off is you got some in quote books with gobbledygook, basically nonsense in there.
Yeah.
Random letters, random words. So it'd be X, Y, F, G, da 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 da. But if you're doing every single possibility, one possibility is going to have it with actual English, actual French, actual German. But it's just using random characters. So what it's done is create every book. But basically, I'm saying this to say that everything's already done.
Yeah.
The only thing that makes things unique is you as an individual.
Yeah.
Putting your, because, you know.
Yeah, your spice.
That's it. Putting your spice, yourself into what you have. That's all that makes you unique. And that's your brand. That's your reputation. And by building a brand is, you know.
Yeah.
How you're going to differentiate yourself.
Definitely.
That's a long intro today. Deep breath.
Is there a time that we never do a long intro?
No, I don't.
So yeah, I mean, how was your week actually? You went to the Cloud Kitchen.
Yeah. So
I like listening to Lisimba's weeks because he does such interesting things, but I never get an invite to these much interesting things.
No, this thing was just like literally just a site visit. I was just curious about like where I'm going to be. So it's like more than likely, like it's like 99% I'm going to be setting up in there when I start this.
Can I ask you the cost of the Cloud Kitchen?
Yeah, sure. So it's £80 a session.
Okay. How long is a session?
So let me. So the day split into 3 sessions. So they have 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., 4 p.m. to 12 a.m., and then 1 a.m. to 6 a.m.
Okay.
So yeah, I think look for anybody that's starting food, right, to go in there. They had one person that I think works in Borough Market. She comes there to bake. I can't remember what it was jam or cakes or something. Yeah, like the £80 a session, to me that's cheap.
I'm thinking about it and I'm just like, if it's just, I mean, for me personally, I think because I'm so used to working consistently, as in I just need a space by myself. But if you're running kind of like market stalls, it's a fantastic idea because really, if I think about it, if you are practically baking, depending on what you're baking, you would only be baking for, let's say, you get in there for 7, you start, you do all of your mixing, you're putting everything in the oven by about 10 o'clock. By 2 o'clock, you've practically finished. And wherever you're going for a market stall, you're hoping to make at least quadruple of that. It's a fair investment.
100%.
What is, can I ask, sorry?
Yeah, go on.
Storage.
Okay, cool. So they did have some storage facilities, depending on, I guess, how many days that you go there. They have, I guess, different, they give you, there's like a box kind of thing that you can put your stuff in there. They have freezer space as well. I couldn't narrow down the specifics for my storage requirement because I need to go back to them to tell them, hey, I need X amount. So I guess they have the facilities, but you just need to tell them what you need and then they can work something out.
Okay, that sounds cool. Can you store stuff overnight, or is that a possibility?
Yeah. You can keep stuff there.
Oh, okay,
but
cool.
You obviously come to an arrangement with them. I don't know how that additional cost, because I need to go back to them and say, hey, I need da 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 da, you know, and then they can arrange it accordingly. But based on these kind of prices, like it's almost a no-brainer for me, you know. And not just are you able to go there and cook. While you're there, you could be online in terms of being on Deliveroo and Uber Eats as well. Yeah,
because obviously that's a new way of people doing things. People don't need a storefront because of the new revolution of Deliveroo, Uber Eats. What's the other one?
Just Eat.
Just Eat. There's another one at your door or something like that.
I only know those 3. Okay.
So those kind of platforms have really just made a new way of a new dining experience. There's a whole new dining experience. People don't always want to, especially in the winter, you don't always want to go out, you know. But even now, it's not just in the winter, it's summertime. Like, I'm having like a barbecue and I don't want to do my wings, so I'm going to order like a hella load of wings from somewhere. You know what I mean? So this is a whole new dining experience and a whole new way of, it's a new eating experience, and people are latching onto it. I've always said like food is like one of the biggest growing. It's the easiest, probably slightly the easiest one to set up because you cook, you let out your product and you fly with it. You know what I mean? It's not, I wouldn't want to say it's hella easy, but cooking, making it a good product and selling it out is probably one of the fastest growing for me anyway. I hear people starting up food companies like every other day, like, oh, I'm cooking now, I'm doing this now, I'm doing that now.
So, you know what, actually, I want to dive into this, right? But I know we had like a main setup, but I actually want to explore this. Right.
Okay, we can scrap our real mains and like,
okay, cool.
This is the mains for today.
Okay, cool. So, based on what you said, right? Do you think it's easy or recommended to like start a food business now? The only reason why I'm thinking about it is that I do see, you know, loads of people like jumping on this food bandwagon. It's never been easier to do it. Yeah. However, I think there's so many people that are not cut out or qualified to do it that shouldn't be doing it.
I agree with everything you're saying. I think I can only speak from my experience. Everybody wants to be a baker, but nobody knows what baking entails. You see the pretty cakes, but let me tell you, behind the scene, shit is not pretty. I mean, there's a lot of sleepless nights. There's a lot of...
sorry to cut in. For people listening, just to perhaps give them some value, what does a typical day look like for you?
I mean, when I don't forget something. A typical day. Okay, so my week usually starts off on a Monday. Funny enough, like I just want to say this. Recently, I've been having to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, if you know me personally, I am not a morning person. I'm more of a nocturnal person, meaning I can last throughout the night. I rather work throughout the night than wake up in the morning and do morning, like work in the morning. But I've been rewired, and working in the morning has brought me... I think I'm happier. What do you think? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But there is a sense of happiness. There is a sense of much more joy within me in the mornings than when I work in the evenings. It's crazy. I don't know. I think I've unlocked a new super me.
So it's interesting. There's actually a word for it. I can't remember what it is, because I remember like one of my closest friends that I used to do, I guess, work with. He was a night person. Yeah. So like come like 6, 7, he's ready to go. Let's sort down, crank numbers, I'm morning. Yeah. Fresh out the gate, like bam, 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 hit whatever I need to. So it's just about finding out what works for you.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like a new superpower has been unlocked in me and unleashed. And I've had, and I think as well, I've been listening to Oprah's Super Soul Sundays. And that as well has been, I've been unfolding a lot within me. It's been really refreshing, because usually I just listen to a lot of music, and I've been listening to a lot of her conversations, and it's unlocked new superpowers in me. And I'm very, very, very grateful for that. So anyway, so a typical day would start with me waking up at, this is before waking up at 5 o'clock. So I'd naturally like to get up between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. Then it's a bad habit, and I'm trying to change this actually about me, is I will check for my email. I grab my phone, see if there's any emails, wake up 8 o'clock, have my shower, then have my breakfast. By 9 o'clock, I'm at my kitchen counter. I'm ready to bake up whatever my orders for the week. Normally, I like to get all of my orders everything baked by like 1:00, 2:00 in the afternoon. Then I'm just waiting for things to cool down. And then in the evening, depending on what I feel, I usually like to do one process a day. So bake everything on a Monday, Tuesday, stack everything. Wednesday, cover and ganache everything. Well, Tuesday, stack and ganache. Wednesday, I put the final layer of ganache or ganache buttercream, whatever I'm using. And then Wednesday night through to Thursday and Friday, I'm decorating. So, but it depends on the styles that I've got and the amounts that I've got. The reason why I like to do a process a day is because I don't like to rush. And I think when I am pressed and rushed, that's when I'm more likely to make a mistake. And plus, I'm a very, when it comes to decorating, it's something that takes place in another, I don't want to say another dimension, but it does take place in another dimension for me. So I need to be mentally and spiritually in the right place for me to start decorating. I don't, if my spirit says, or like my spirit or like literally my internal self says, today's not the day to decorate, I don't decorate, because that's when I scrape off something and I start it again, because I'm doing it by force. So for me, when I do a process a day, I like to spread it out. And that's what works for me. So it carries me right through up until the pickup time or the delivery time. So that's the way I like to work. I think especially getting into my routine, it's been understanding my routine and understanding the way I like to work has come within the past like 2.5 years. And especially with recording the show, where they were like, literally, Nastassja, can you start decorating now? It's just like, no, my spirit doesn't say it's decorating time. My spirit says I'm going home to sleep. They'd be like, oh, okay, when are you going to start decorating, or what are you going to do? And I'm like, I don't know. And it's because for me, when it comes to decorating, that happens, like I said, in another dimension. Like I have to be, everything has to, there's a sense of calm. There's a sense of, I don't like to be on the phone. I don't like my phone around me at that stage. It's just me and the cake, and we're going to have this conversation, and it's going to tell me, I'm going to speak to it, it's going to speak to me, and we're going to have that conversation. For a lot of people hearing this, they're going to be like, rah, like, what's she doing with them cakes in the kitchen? And for me, that is my voice. Like when I start doing, it's like, even if I was starting a new art piece, that's the process I have. Everything is done within the time that my heart says, let's decorate. It's like, it's very funny because when people force it, like when it's forced it, like, oh, you got to decorate, you got to bake and decorate, you got to bake, stack and decorate all in like a day. I feel very kind of burnt out. And mentally, I'm just like, did you just know what you asked me to do? You're asking me to put a 4-day, 5-day process into a day. And I don't like to work like that, because I think when I repeat something, or repetitive styles come from the fact that I don't have time. I don't give myself enough time to think about my process, or I don't have enough time to let my muses come out and say, this is what we're going to do today. And that's what it is. I think when it comes from me for decorating, it's that time. And Quincy Jones said it in his Netflix thing. It's like there is a specific time that your muses like to come out and play. Like for him, making music, there was a specific time and moment. He knew how to get there, but it's so personal that you can't force it to come out. Like you can't force greatness to just come. Like you can't force, like, decorate now. Doesn't happen like that. And with me, it doesn't. So that's kind of like my outset of the week. If I've forgotten something, you can imagine that my time is spread out like manic. But usually I do like my inventory. I try to do an inventory, of which I always forget something within my inventory anyway, like during the weekend for the week ahead. And because I do bespoke cakes, I really just look at each design and get what I need for each design. some people are just like, why don't you just have everything there? Because sometimes I used to, and it's just like half these things like go off and I don't get to use it. So these days I'm just very specific. What do I need right now? What do I need for this cake and for that cake, and then take it from there.
So I'm just trying to like think about that and relate it to people listening. See, like what you're saying now, right? Obviously rolls off your tongue. Yeah. You've got your method and things like that, right? So for anybody listening and
wanting to start a food business,
for example, let's use cake, baking as an example. In your process there, do you see any pitfalls that like a newbie could run into?
Okay, so yes, so depending on like, I now know how much work I like to take on each week, and how much I can divide my brain, you know. So one of the pitfalls, I suppose, what's the pitfall for a newbie? Okay, so sometimes you can have like, for me, like maximum, I like to do about 6 to 7 orders a week. For some people, that's still a lot to take in, but maximum, I'd like to say 6. Okay. You know, and that's probably 6 different designs. So for a newbie, if you are going into the cake business, I would really start to think, let me start that again. One thing you need for the cake business is endurance, right? I've got my cake process up to a T now. Well, not to a T, it's still being refined. It's not as diamond as I want it to be, and it's still being put through the pressure cooker, which I'm learning to very much appreciate, because it's making me a better baker, a greater baker than I already am. I think one thing that people, like if you're going into baking, you need to understand it's endurance. When I say endurance, you are on your feet I'm on my feet from 7, like from when I get up, let's say it's from 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock in the evening. That's a long day. For someone, if you're just coming out of being a 9 to 5er, it starts off being exciting, but then it starts off being draining. And if you don't know there is a wellness that you have to keep within your body. And there's a lot of things, when I talk to other bakers, they're like, I've got back problems, I've got knee problems, I've got leg, because you're consistently standing. Imagine that I'm standing from 7 to 8 in the day till 8 at night. And when I sit down, I'm not going to sit down, I'm going to sleep. So my legs, like, I tend to, especially like during winter, this is like perfect conditions for me, because my legs won't swell up as much. But during the summer, my legs, like, I'm swollen, and it's not pretty. It's painful, to be quite fair. And that's one thing that's one of the pitfalls of newbie bakers. They don't realize how much we're a different kind of athlete. Do you get what I mean? You need to be, like, I'm not even going to lie, you need to be kind of, as much as you can be physically built for it, you need to be mentally built for it. Because if you misbake something, that's you spending time baking it again. You know what I mean? You have to allow time. And this is one thing that I've come to realize, like, a big lesson for me is give time for everything. That's why I've extended my process. And that's why I explained that process, that for me, it's a 5-day kind of thing. I like to do a process a day because it allows time for error, if there is any.
So one thing I find very interesting about what you're saying is, sorry, you know, like, so a lot of people, they'd be like, either like cooking on Instagram, or, you know, you go around the house, they make something, it's like, oh, hey, yeah, like, you cook real good, like, this food is tasty, you should start a business. And then they get like all like hyped, and they're like, yeah, I'm going to do this cooking thing, they're going to start a stall or catering or what have you, right?
You've said that, but you're not looking at how much you have to bake, the time it's going to take you. And this is the thing, there's time. When you're doing a market stall, like, I was actually talking to somebody else about this, and they were just like, you know, one of their friends runs a vegan waffle store, and they have a cloud kitchen, and she was like, oh, she's not breaking even and stuff, and you sound like you've got it on TV. And I'm just like, I may sound like it, but honestly, I'm being refined, and I'm learning. I'm being a sponge right now. And she was just like, it's really long days for them, and they're prepping for a stall for about 3 days, and then when they get to the stall, the thing about it, because your cakes are pre-made, like, so you come to stall and everything, but their ones, they cook on site, and there's pressure on that. So if you're starting a food truck and you have to cook on site, you have to know that how long does each dish take you to make. Because obviously, say for instance, you're doing a wrap, right? You need to know that your meat is all diced up. That meat has to be partly cooked. So, and when you're putting it on the skillet, is it a skillet or whatever? You put it on a skillet, so it has to be half cooked, like pre-cooked to a certain temperature and all of that. And then when you put it on the skillet, you have to know, you have to toss it for like 3-4 minutes, because if your line starts growing and each of your wraps take about 10 minutes, you're not going to make no money. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's all to do it. I would say, like, if you're doing, there's different business models. There's the food truck, where you're doing you're pre-prepping your food and you're cooking on site. Then you've got like the catering, where obviously you cater for large numbers of people and blah blah blah. And then there's the in-house dining experience, where people hire you as a chef and you go into people's houses and you cook for them and blah blah blah. So there's different models to kind of take on, but I just want to say, I think timing is a huge factor in food. How long does it take you to cook your food? Can you withstand the endurance of standing for like 10 hours, 12 hours? Because unlike a 9 to 5, where you may be sitting at a computer typing, you're physically doing something. You're lifting, you're doing this, you're going back and forth, you're going to the wholesalers, you're doing this. So all of those things need to be, I think time for me is like, time and endurance is the biggest factor that people coming into the industry don't factor, of how much you have to do and how much you spend your time spent outside of the kitchen also needs to be accounted for you being in the kitchen.
No, 100%. Yeah, basically, what I think is interesting is what a lot of people don't recognize as well is that, like, cool. So especially exactly what you're saying about like the time, the amount of time these processes take, the level of work it involves, because of a lot of those people that, cook at home, don't realize that people that work in kitchens, some of them typically work like 12-hour days, right? And that's not even on their own business, right?
And like, I work with a chef right now, and like, he starts at probably about 6:30, between 6 and 6:30, and finish it a.m. Yeah, a.m. So my guy's probably getting up at like 4 a.m, and I'm still trying to figure out, and I'm just like, that's the highlight, that's the high point of my dreams, at 4 o'clock in the morning, and he doesn't finish until about 4:30 in a day. So imagine my guy's been cooking since like 6:30, yeah, and he's been cooking from 6:30. Then service starts at like 8 o'clock, 8:30, all the way through to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's a chef. Like, that's chef life. And this is why I say time is one thing that people do not factor in being a chef. It's great being a home cook, because I mean, one thing that people also don't realize is chefs don't actually cook at home. Like, once you get, like, chefs do not cook for themselves. Like, I mean, I speak about the struggle of cooking for myself, even though I bake. The fact is, I don't want to be at the cooker any longer than I always have to be. So that's why I do a lot of meal. Like, when I have my breakfast, I literally do a meal prep. Like, I'll cook my lunch and my dinner same time, so I can just split it in two. But time and endurance is something needed to be a chef, to be a baker. Anything that is in the kitchen, you need to have time and endurance, because it's something that people don't factor in. It's like, oh, I'm just going to make this cake and it's going to take me 2-3 hours. 2-3 hours, you're still there going, what the fuck? I haven't even iced this thing and it's already irritating me. Like, why isn't it not finished? You know what I mean? So those are the things that people don't factor in, that to get to that finished product takes 12-hour days.
No, 100%. One thing also that I think people don't realize as well is that, so look, I guess you've been blessed in that you've been able to start a business, doing what you love and know the business side, right? I think there's plenty of people there.
Let me point that actually. Knowing the business side is coming with a lot of failures as well. You know what I mean? The business side of it is learning learning each year as I go along, because coming from someone who's just a creative and knows how to make creative outputs like that, the business side is different. You know, like the cafe taught me a huge lesson in business. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still learning a new model of business in how I want to. Now, the new model of business, what I want to structure now comes from me having that experience and still making loads of failure. And I also want to say to people, don't be afraid to fail with your business, because getting things right all the time, like there is an obsession of just seeing somebody and think that person's getting it right. But the amount of mistakes that person's making to get the right output, that's what you're not seeing. Because the right output comes with a lot of mistakes being made in the background, or with moving along with your business to get the right output to put out there.
No, 100%. That's a very important point, because I think that some of the most successful people that I know that like are very, very successful, they all failed. Do you know what I mean? It's just knowing that failure isn't failure. Failure, like, is when you stop, like you failed at something because you gave up. Like, it's literally just finding the next iteration of like, how do you adapt? How do you, like, maybe you don't make cakes, you know, maybe you make, I don't know, noodles, or maybe you sell them for more money, or maybe you reduce your portion. It's just adapting to find out. And then once you got it, then you're off to the races. On top of that, I want to add as well.
Preach.
On top of that, I want to add as well is that, so the point I was going to make when I said that, I guess you've been lucky in that, you know, you're doing the food, you're doing the business. I think that for many people out there as well, they have to recognize that this is obviously you have to work out what's works for you. You may just be the artist, and you need to bring in somebody who is the face, or the marketer, the numbers person, the savvy business person, like just recognizing that perhaps your talents may only get you so far, and there's nothing wrong with it.
I would also add to that even if you're just the artist, also be involved in the business. I think one thing that I found on my journey is, and what I'm still kind of scoping out is, and funny enough, I was listening, was it in a Super Soul Sunday session? Or I was reading, no, it was a Super Soul session, is as much as you probably want investment, and funny enough, I've had different people approach me about investment, and I've actually said no. Not because that I don't want it, or I don't feel I need it. I want it. I'm looking for it. But then they've not been the right people, because what my business means to me is different from what my business means to these people. And that's the key thing for me, is like, there is a certain voice and that my business has, and I don't want to lose that essence. And I think when I've met people who want to invest, it's kind of like, what it is like, this is what I'm going to turn your business into, not this is what I see what your business is, and I really enjoy it. But it's like they want to take it and just go like left with it. And I'm just like, that's not what my business is about. If I'm going to sell my business or sell a part of my business to you, I need to know that I'm selling it for the reasons of why I started it. And I was listening to an Oprah Super Soul session, and it had the guy who, he didn't start Starbucks, but he bought Starbucks. He worked for Starbucks, and then Starbucks approached him again. And then, because he when he first saw Starbucks, and he was like, I really want to work for this company. It's so cool. They make coffee in like such a niche way, and And he basically talked the owners the original owners of Starbucks into hiring him as their marketing director. Okay. Then fast forward, he goes to Italy, and then he sees the real art of coffee, and then he comes back to the US and says to them, "This is Starbucks could be this," and they're like, "No, boo, that's not what Starbucks means to us," and they declined his offer. And that's where and then what happened is after he started his own coffee house, he self-funded himself. He had no money, and he was making this amazing artisan kind of coffee style, and he started his own business and blah, blah, blah. He looked for investors, and he said he went to over like 200 people, and they all said no. And then he finally then started getting people. I think I don't want to get this wrong, whether it was a crowdfunding type of thing, but then he asked people, and then he continued asking people, and then he started getting investment from different small pots of investment from different people. And then in a really, when the universe knows what it's doing, in a random turn of events, the owners of Starbucks said, like, "We're selling it. Do you want it?" They came back to him and said, "You know what? We're selling our business. Do you want it?" And he was like, "I had no money, not for what they wanted. I didn't even have. I couldn't even tell you if I had $100 to my name." But anyway, he drummed up investors as well, I think, and then he eventually bought Starbucks from him, and this is Starbucks. He brought this Starbucks vision to life. And I think from that session, that told me that, don't sell yourself short just because you want money. There are other ways of raising investment to have the business that you want to. So where I'm going with this is stay true to yourself and learn about your business before you actually go out there and ask for this savvy business person, for the person that you need to come into your business. Because I think, and something that this guy said is, Starbucks has a heart and soul. And that's the same with me with my business. My business has a heart, it has a soul, and I'm not willing to trade that in for a quick buck just because I feel I need it. It has to be the right people, and it has to be the right people or the right person to come along and say, "This is what I want to do." And I've been very patient with that. I've probably been, sometimes I think, am I being a bit too patient? But then I was listening to something else this morning, and I was like, no, I've been the right amount of patient. Because funny enough, I did tell my grandma about this investor, and she screwed up her face in a certain way. And I was just like, Nan, why do you always do this? But I understand, because a couple of weeks later, I realized how this person, it sounds good on the outside, but on the inside, I don't think it would have been the right direction which I wanted to go in and transform my business into. So learn about your business before you go out there and sell its soul. Learn about the basic business rights of your business as well. Don't get involved in it and see the pitfalls. And one thing I would really, 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 really stress is experience the pitfalls of business in an early stage and be so thankful about it. Take it has lessons. They're not losses, but they're lessons. And remember that when you see other people prospering in their business, understand that you do not understand the pitfalls that they have taken for them to start that winning process. And even if you think what they're showing you, you feel like that person's winning, understand that that person may be winning at such a huge loss. Does that make sense? So experience the pitfalls of your business before you go out there. Don't be afraid. I used to be afraid of failure. Like, honestly, like I want to sit here and like reel off the list of like mad shit that I've done with my business. But I sit here and I come on this, like I'm on this podcast telling you, like, experience the pitfalls because they can only make you stronger. You will learn so much more from the pitfalls than getting something right. Because when you always get that A, and then you're flying high and you are on top of the world, you feel like you're on top of the world, and then you experience a Z, it crashes, it hurts harder.
No, 100%. I think it's funny, when you were speaking, I was starting to think about like how, like, I've lost a restaurant before, and I can just see it now. Like, when I launch this brand next year, some people are going to be like, "Hey, you came out of nowhere," not knowing that, been planting seeds, learning, going through failures and for like years and stuff like that. So 100% it makes sense.
Okay, let's just, sorry to cut you, let's just put it this way. Like, Jay-Z is like the first black billion. Well, what we see has the one of, I don't say first, but he's first black music billionaire, right? Do you know does anybody really know how many pitfalls Jay-Z took in, like, how old is Jay-Z, first of all?
I don't even know. Like, we can...
Right. Like, if we want to we always want to put a number towards another number. He's got billions, and he is how old?
50.
He turned 50 this year. Like
4th of December, yeah.
Yeah, turned 50 on the 4th of December. He was announced as the first billionaire. When was it? Was it earlier this year or last year? Forbes, first music kind of billionaire. How long has it taken Jay-Z, like, in the industry? How many pitfalls do we know that Jay-Z took behind the scenes before getting to the status that he is right now? Right? This is something I tell myself, like, all the time. Like, failure, I think one thing I've realized is failure has been told to me that it is so bad that once you fail, that there's no coming back to it. I think as a child, I was always told, if you fail at this, that's the end of your life. That's the end of your career. You can't come back from it. You cannot come back from it. And I grew up with that kind of notion that if I fail, like, everything is lost. Like, I've lost at everything. Like, literally, nobody's going to like me anymore because I'm a failure. Nobody's going to buy from it because I'm a failure. Let me tell you one thing. Like, failure is the essence of life. There's nothing that doesn't fail. Even like when we plant a seed in the soil, like, even like when we're planting, like, everything fails. Like, when the best notion I can give you is like when we all learning to walk, how many times do we fall down before we stand up and start running?
So on that though, right? So I think it takes a special kind of person to deal with that kind of failure.
Yeah, definitely.
Because of, just to go back to the, is it for everyone? Only because of, look, in me experiencing different types of failure, I've lost money, I've lost friends, I've lost partners, material things, I've lost a lot,
but you're still here wanting to do the ice cream
100%. Like, nothing's gonna deter me, but
I call it passion.
But I know a lot of people that, like, this would have ruined them.
I think I completely, I understand. Like, there's always, I'm sure you've got to this point. Like I said, we started off this podcast and you asked me how my week was, and I told you how my week was. And I told you at the beginning of this podcast, I said to you, I did not know if I was physically going to make it towards the end of the year. And that, because I thought that, I felt like, I didn't want to take on any more orders. The output that I was putting out to the world was, I don't know if I'm going to be here, so I'm not sure if I want orders anymore. You know what I mean? But I'm here, and this is a different kind. I'm here, and I'm grateful for it. Mm-hmm. So I think it takes a special kind of human to dust themselves, pick them up, to fall, stand up, dust themselves off, and do it again. 100%. I think we see in athletes, like sports stars, all the time. There's other sports stars that drop down and be like, no, this means I'm done. And they're happy to go off on a different route and create another path for themselves. It does. And I can't really tell. I'm not sure if I can tell you now whether you know when something like cooking is for you or not for you. But for me, when I knew it was for me, is I never gave up. I always wanted to be, like, my first cakes used to drop in the middle all the time.
Okay.
And that, for somebody baking, that's probably very heart-wrenching that, I've been mixing this for like an hour and it's dropped in the middle. For me, I was like, well, goddamn, I've been spending time on this cake, but I had the why. And I think my why was leading me. That is what's always made me stand up and do it again, because I had a why, and I wanted to explore the why until I got it correct and I understood. And that why is where my passion lies.
Oh, okay. Because I was literally just about to interrupt and say I would argue that it's because you enjoy it, but you didn't use the word passion.
It's the passion and the enjoyment. And if, for me, even the amount of like everything that I've done up until this point, I still tell you that I enjoy baking. A friend of mine said to me, like JB said to me, Nastassja, you know, because I brought him some cake the other day, and he was like, Nastassja, do you still get excited about your own cake? And I'm like, God damn hell yes. Yes, I still get excited about my own cake. I'm still so mad enthusiastic about my own cake. And even sometimes when somebody has said to me, your cake wasn't on point, the why is going to intrigue me to want to get it right the next time. And that for me is like there have been moments where I've been like, I'm not sure if this is for me, because these things keep like, why is this happening? And that's the wrong question to ask. I found out the question is, what is this trying to teach me, or what is trying to come through? But for me, when I've got to a point when I have the why, and my why is the passion, and that what I'm doing, there is a slight enjoyment of it. Like there is enjoyment and passion in there. That means that that's for me. If I tell you that I'm doing when people say I'm doing this, but I don't enjoy it, you're doing it because there's an outcome for it. Like you may get paid for it and it's your job, and that's why you're doing it, because it enables you to have the lifestyle that you have. But the funniest thing is, like, when you ask most creatives, like, you know, I have a great group, like the people who I surround myself with are all creatives, whether it's in food, art, music, whatever. And these people will tell you, you know, I don't even know how I'm going to pay for my rent next month. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, yeah, but I love what I'm doing though. And I'm just like, this was when I had a 9 to 5, and I'd be like, I would be scared. I'd just be like, how are you still doing what you love and not knowing how you're going to pay for something next month? And they're just like, because I love what I do and I know it's going to come through. And for sure, for them, it comes through. I now live that lifestyle where I'm just like, and not to say I don't know how I'm just like, Lord, I don't know what's happening this month, but all I know is when I bake cake, I'm going to enjoy. Like, whatever comes through this month, I'm going to enjoy it. And I'm going to live in the mother free. And if I make a mistake in those, I do get deterred. I'm just like, oh, what the fuck? Like, how did I make that mistake? But then again, it's like, Lord, I know I made a mistake, but what am I supposed to learn from this moment? Was it actually me? And if it's me, show me what I've done and what I need to better myself in. So for me is, like you just said, do you enjoy what you're doing? I work like this week. Last night was the only night that I got I'm not even gonna lie, I went to sleep at 10. I woke up at 1 o'clock this afternoon, and I got the sleep of my life, and I feel refreshed. But I can tell you, I motherfucking enjoyed this weekend so hard. I wouldn't change it for the world. If I'm not sleeping because I'm doing cake, that fucking turns me on.
Okay.
Because if I'm not sleeping because I'm in a 9 to 5 and I'm working for someone, I'll be complaining about that shit for a lifetime. But if you talk to any musician, anybody that's doing what they love, even Lizzo said, there are times where she was paying to do her own gigs. She was sleeping in her car. She only had £10 in her bank account. She only had £10 petrol, and sometimes she's sleeping in her car because she can't afford to get it to the hotel, but she's out there performing. Sometimes she's performing to a crowd of just 15 people, but let me tell you, she come off the stage like she just won the fucking lottery. That is passion to want to do it. And I think for someone like me, it's not always, yes, the monetary outcome will pay for everything that for a type of lifestyle that I really, really want. But let me tell you, I think for me, my legacy is one of the biggest parts of my legacy is Nastassja enjoyed what she did, regardless of what condition she was doing them in. I love what I do.
You know, you've literally just said it all. That passion, that love, that hunger, that desire, you have to have all of that, because of that whole sleeping in the car thing. You're not going to enjoy that if it's not for something that you love, you know. So One other thing that I also wanted to touch on as well, you spoke a bit about like funding and things like that. I kind of feel like some people that I've spoken to recently that want to get into like food businesses and stuff. I kind of feel, look, we're in the era now where everything's like, you know, startup culture, like Dragon's Den, Shark Tank. Let me go get some funding, Crowdcube, or like GoFundMe, all of this kind of stuff, right? I kind of feel that there's a lot of people that see those headlines and they work. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people build very big businesses of that, right? But there's so many people that are just not prepared to just get to basics and just literally start like
organic.
Either organic or just like minimum viable product. Like, what is the smallest way I can get to market without taking any money? And just literally just get the ball rolling. It helps qualify what you're doing. You don't have to take 10, 20, 50.
I sit here and I put my hands up, and if you're listening to this, my hands are up. I'm a self-funded person. Like I said, I early on, and I still get it, people throwing money in my face. But the thing is, I have such an organic... my business is so organic, and it has so much personality, and it has a soul. And we're going to put the link to this Oprah Super Soul Sunday session as well in the bio. Like, Lisimba, listen to it. Like, the guy who, like I said, this guy who owns, like, I want to, trust me, like, 2020, in the decades of 20s, I will meet Oprah, because let me tell you, Super Soul Sunday, I've listened to it religiously since Sunday. No, since Monday, beginning of Monday. And let me tell you, the person who put me onto Super Soul Sunday is another podcast. It was Kalechi's, like listening to Kalechi's podcast. Shout out to Say Your Mind podcast, because that's another thing that drove me to want to do our podcast as well. She talks about Super Soul session. I was just like, she always talks about it. Let me get to grips with it. And funny enough, I was listening to her podcast on a Monday, and funny enough, it just started playing. And I was just like, I didn't even click this. I didn't even click this. And I started listening to Super Soul. Like, when I say I've religiously listened to Super Soul Sunday since last Monday, like, I started from the very first episode, and I'm up to like, there's been so many. They're all very inspiring. They all have like such a deep and such a message that's resonated with me. But that Starbucks story is one that literally, when I heard it, I was like, when I tell people my business has a soul, they think, what? Like, when I say this is what I do is on a different dimension, there's a lot of spirituality what I'm doing, not in terms of like, hey, I'm like dancing around the cake. Yeah, there's moments where I dance and I rejoice, because the product that I'm creating has a heart. Like, when you eat that cake, you're eating a part of like what I've produced. That's me. That's me in the room without me being there. You know what I mean? So definitely, I think organic, like when you start off something organic, that's when you start loving it. Because when you grow something organically, you feel its pain. You feel the pain of, I put that seed in. I did this. I did that. A great example of this, like, weirdly enough, is watch Empire. Sorry, I've only just caught on to Empire. Yeah, like my family have all watched Empire, and they've been telling me to watch Empire. My mum is like Empire super fan.
So wait, is this a spoiler alert?
No. Okay. I haven't watched the new series. I've only watched I watched it up to season 5. Like,
someone may not have watched.
No, but I'm just gonna say, like, the essence of Empire is, they always say, if you watch Empire, you know what I'm talking about. When Lucius and Cookie are like, Cookie's like, I did 17 years in prison for this company. This is my heart. This is our blood, sweat, and tears. Lucius is always like, this is my company. Even though there's a board, I know what's right for my company. This is mine. I built this. I know the sweat. I know its secrets. I know the cracks. I know how to mend it when it's sick. You know, that is when you start having love for your thing. I have a relationship with my company that is ever bounding. That's just kind of like, like even something that someone said to me is like, Nastassja, you need to walk in the righteous path of your business because you are like, that is you. You know what I mean? You're not even Nastassja anymore. You're like Miss Sugar Plum to everyone. Like, start saying that, nobody knows who Nastassja is. Everybody wants Miss Sugar Plum, and when you grow something organically, you feel the pinch more. It hurts more. It's much more pain. It's a painful route. I'm not going to lie. But let me tell you, once you grow that, once you understand what it's like to say, I'm not going to buy trainers, or I'm not going to buy clothes for the next 3 years of my life. And this is what I like, literally. I mean, I bought a pair of trainers this week. I felt very proud of myself. I want another pair, but everything in limitation. When you say to yourself, I don't come from, funny enough, I don't come from a rich, as in like my mom gives me money like to splash out on myself. Well-off parents. I come from a working background, but let me tell you, like from my father's side, I'm so rich in business because my father's parents, my grandparents from my father's side, they never worked for anybody a day in their life. They built their own businesses. They had many businesses back in Zim, and I'm very proud that I come from that heritage. And my mum always says to me, you are your father because you are from your father's like people, because them ones don't like working for anyone else. They love to work for themselves, and everything that they have and had up until the day that they both passed away was theirs. And they felt the pinches, they felt the climatization when things weren't going well. They had to remodel themselves, they had to repitch themselves, they had to do this. And that's where I come from. And even like even though my mum says my maternal side is like that, my great grandmother and my great grandfather, they also had their businesses. Like when I was born, they used to take me to, they looked after me. My great grandmother used to take me to her market store. She had a simple market store, but she worked for herself. And I believe in building something organically because you love it. So you'll love it much more. And even if in the years to come you have to sell it on to somebody else, you'll sell it with so much pride. You'll be like, girl, that's my baby. It's now running and walking. I'm about to start a new baby, but I'm so proud of that one.
Yeah, no, I feel the passion.
I'm very passionate about my baby, and when it's hurt, I feel hurt too. But in the same way that someone said to me, there is no joy without pain. Where there's joy, where there's pain, you will see joy. Like, it's like when you're being born, like it's a painful process, but the joy that comes afterwards is inevitable. It's like, it's beyond, you forget about the pain. That's what business is.
Lovely analogy. Lovely. Speaking about your passion for food, for anybody listening, Nastassja's bought me a gift.
I did. One of my favorite things to do is gift people with cake. Like if you're my friend and if I'm seeing you this week and I'm going to have a cake package for you. It looks a bit traumatized, but let me tell you, it's okay because I know Lisimba's going to indulge. Look, if you saw Lisimba's eyes when I gave it to him, he was just like, oh my God.
I can't lie. I was like, oh, a gift for
I'm
me?
not sure. Are you sharing this? I love that laugh. He was just like, what did you just say the S word? Like, girl, you never share shit with me. I mean, not share with me, but share. I personally, I wouldn't, but I'd let them have a taster, but
yeah, they might get a taste,
but I want to see that shit in the fridge when I get home every single day.
Oh, I don't know. Like, storing this, do I have to keep it in the fridge?
Preferably in the fridge.
Okay, cool. So
you can't hide it in your bedroom. I know you guys ain't trying to put shit in the fridge. You're like, this is straight in my bedroom, bitch. Like the cheesecake brownie. Cheesecake brownie needs to kind of be in the fridge because it's cheese, obviously, but the other ones should be fine out. Like if your room is cool, like yeah. But I can walk you through your platter.
Yeah,
so
please do.
He's got a pumpkin pie, which is like one of my ultra favorites. pumpkin pie, then a cheesecake brownie. It's not for the faint-hearted. One of my favorites as well. He's got a very berry slice, a salted. I had a slice of the salted caramel. My word, I was like, "Yo, this is like sex in your mouth shit." Pecan pie. Like my brother's been silent for like 4 days since I gave him the pecan pie, so obviously I hit some spots there. Pumpkin pie, like I said, it's very new on my menu. A lot of people are like, it's very American. It's more like, I call it the pre-dessert, because you can have this as a part of your savory meal. And then it's a great setup for a sweet dessert. And then I just got like mini cupcakes, and I literally popped one of the mini cupcakes in my mouth before I got here. That's why I was slightly late, but I was just like, yo, Stash, what the fuck, like, is this you? Yeah, like I actually was just like, for a moment I was just like, Stash, I had to do a little dance for myself. I was like, Stash, like this salted caramel, like let me tell, is this I mean,
I am going to enjoy, literally, like, I know, like...
I set you up to this. He's looking his look. You know, like, I my favorite thing is gifting people with cake and looking at their face.
Okay, the reaction.
I just, you know what it is? It's like, people first, like, do you eat your own cakes? Hell to the fucking yes. Like, I've always eaten my own cakes. I love eating my own cakes. Like, that's just me. But you know where the joy for me comes from is exactly when Lisimba opened his pack. Like when I gave it to him and he opened the bag and his face lit up. That's the reactions that I live for. Like, honestly, like I said, if I'm sleeping only 3 hours because I'm doing cake, I'm in love. You know, that's me loving it, because I wouldn't change that for the world. And seeing people's faces like yours, like just light up, like that's, you know, for me, I feel like once I've done that for you, I have fulfilled my purpose, and that's my purpose. And I do really feel like at this present moment in stage, I'm understanding that my purpose, like, is to do this for people, like, to give them this experience of just like happiness through cake is just like, I can't explain it, but I feel like this is my purpose.
So look, I'm 100% the same. And I remember like when I did have a restaurant, what always used to like fill me with joy is when you see like, I remember like I saw like, it happened numerous times, but I remember I saw this couple, they've come in, they're complete strangers, eating food and just enjoying it. You know when you see that in their face?
Yes.
And I was thinking, wow, I took all this risk, I built all this thing, and these two people have come and they're having a good time. Just seeing that was just...
Okay, so can I say, Lisimba, that is what, even though you had the restaurant and it didn't work out, and now you're going on to a new venture, that is what drives you.
Yeah, no, 100%. Just seeing people, because when I think about all the businesses you could start, like food is one of the very few things that really make people happy.
Yeah.
Do you know, just like when you like you scroll through even foodie pictures where they happen to like, okay, I'm a foodie, I normally just take pictures of the food and not myself, but with food, with cake, with birthday cakes, with all these things, like people are just happy, you know, and just to put a smile on someone's face, you know, versus, I guess I could talk about it now, I was doing insurance before, like, yeah, you get, like, you might be happy that your house is insured, but do you get excited by buying insurance?
I mean, no, I mean, I think the things of the earth, the worldly goods is not exciting things. I think that's just something that we've all come to grips that, you know, we have to pay our way on this in the world. But when you're doing something you love, I just think, when I've watched people who love what they do, these people are ultimately blessed in 100%. Different ways, and their joys aren't dependent on how much cash is in the bank. Their joys are dependent on, am I doing what I love? And if I left this world tomorrow, can I reach the gates and say to God, if God said, did you enjoy yourself? I can say I had an amazing time. And I heard that from someone. They said, when I get to that time and God asked me, did I enjoy myself? I can officially say I had a whale of a time and I'm ready for my next stage. And that's what it is like each time I bake, it's like, am I enjoying myself? And I don't, one of the things is if I'm upset about something, I don't bake, because it's kind of just like that energy is flowing through and I don't want that energy to flow through. I really need to recenter myself. So I do try and practice. When things really hit me hard, I really just try and like let it just come in. I feel that moment. And I think one thing I've learned is whenever something happens to me in life, I learn to feel it and let it go. Let it flow through you and let it go. But living for those moments, like you're saying, that you just see like seeing their faces was just like, this is what I live for. I could have the nicest house and the nicest rug in the world, but let me tell you, I live for that. Like that moment there, because you're never going to, that moment there is going to live with them forever.
You've said it. Like, oh, sorry. Like, I guess for people listening, can't see the gestures on my face, but that is like literally it. Like you live for your memories, and things that you did. So,
can I ask you one question?
You can ask me many questions. But go ahead.
What has made you want to go back and do the restaurant? Do start up a new food business? And what would make you stop? Would there be anything that would make you stop?
Okay, cool. I think the thing that would. Okay, cool. So your first question about what made you stand up again? Because you asked me what makes me kind of do what I do each day. What made you kind of, after experiencing that with your restaurant, I experienced something with similar with the cafe, but what made you say, okay, even though this happened, I'm going to still do X, Y, and Z? Because I think that for people is the real, is going to be a real gem. So for me personally, it's because there is no alternative. I can't do nothing else. Like having, gone back to working 9 to 5 for a while, I felt like my wings were clipped. I felt constrained. Like I could have done the whole corporate thing, climbing the ladder thing for if I wanted to years ago. But it's not the direction that I chose to, that I enjoy, that I want to do. Like I feel like I should be running a business. In terms of I guess why it's fallen to food, partly coincidence, partly joy. Some of my background has involved food, whether it's like retail, working for a grocery store, or starting this restaurant, or working actually with my friend's dad's restaurant as the restaurant manager there. That's where I guess getting my feet wet, like all of these things. And then I guess some other things, worked in a deli, and it basically revolved around food. And I guess speaking to I guess close friend of mine actually not too long ago, just trying to work out which direction to take, and he also highlighted hey, look, you've been involved in food for so long, just do what you're good at,
Yeah.
And I enjoy good tasty food, the great food experiences. I enjoy it, Look,
yeah.
We're sitting here for how many hours a week speaking about food?
I know, I mean, I think everything that you said is the gems of it all, really, that when you feel like your wings are clipped, and I felt that when I was working in the corporate world, and like I always say in any interview, I really big up my Diesel family that I worked for nearly 8 years ago now. It's crazy.
Wow, that's
8 years, 7 years ago now. I left there in 2012.
Is that the last time you saw the dragon?
I saw the dragon in 2013.
Okay, cool.
Man, when I think about this decade, I'm just this decade, I left my job. I got fired. I started my company for real. TV show. Man.
Amazing.
No, right. Crazy. Working at Diesel, I don't think if like Zoe, who was my manager at that time, gave me that, Nastassja, just try, because at the end of the day, you can always come back to this world of corporate. Like, corporate is never going to end, but don't, your time for doing your business, I'm not saying it may expire, but don't let it pass you by, kind of thing. So I definitely feel like that for me, if I didn't get that push, that I wouldn't really be here in terms of confidence levels, or so yeah, I get that. When you feel like your wings are clipped and you feel like, hold on, I have more to offer to myself, not even to the world, to myself. Let me do myself. Do you think it takes a certain level of fearlessness?
Yes and no. I think the reason why I'm pausing as well is I think that part of my drive to get to where I am at now is also fear.
Okay. So instead of you being scared to take the leap, the fear actually made you take the leap.
Yeah, like fear of leaving my fate in other people's hands. Like when you're in a business or organization and that you feel that you know how to run a business better than them.
Yeah.
And you realize the only difference between you and them is that they just took the risk.
Yes.
That's one thing. And then fear of missing out.
FOMO.
When you see all these opportunities passing you by, and then fear of not being able to help your loved ones, your closest people. I always remember this. Like I remember when I first moved over to Ghana. My mum called me instinctively. Like she needed help. She called me and she was like, "Oh son, I hurt my back. Can you come round?" And I was like, I at that time I couldn't literally I didn't have the money to do it. I'm 6,000 how many thousand miles away. But like fear of something happened to your nearest and dearest and you're not in a position to help them. Fear of like I've been in a position where like didn't have the rent, because over there you pay like rent like a year in advance, right? Let's just say that like money that was meant to come to me didn't come at a particular time, meant that I didn't have that lump sum at the right time, meant that I got a padlock on my door, locked outside my house. There was a time when perhaps I didn't have enough money to pay workers. I had to walk an hour to the shop. Was eating like what's that not ramen, what's it called, Indomie?
Yeah.
Like I've been there's a lot, but like fear is so there's two parts of it. Fear that like you don't want to ever go through that, right?
Again.
But also you being fearless in like knowing that there's no alternative. As much as all of that is painful, knowing that, hey, look, this is again not for everybody. Me going and sitting in that cubicle for 9 to 5, or flipping these burgers from whatever, like it's just not for you. But I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Look, because I think that some people are
very happy with, like, and this is the thing, like I've always said to people, like, being your own boss is not for everyone. And I've known this. I think I've come to know this, especially working with my family. That'll be another episode. That some people just like to take direction. They like to know that by the end of the month, this is the lump sum I'm going to have. And it's funny because I spoke to a previous partner and they were just like, Nastassja, I could never live like you do. And I was like, how do I live? And it was just like, you don't know like what's coming in next week or next month. I don't think I could mentally take that. That would give me mental anxiety and just not know where it is. And I'm just like, well, I live by faith, not by sight. But it if I'm honest, like that when he said that actually clicked something, because I'd never thought of it. It made me think deeper about stuff, which made me go off in another tangent in my mind. But like I said, it's not for everyone, because like for I think for people like me and you, we see no other alternative but to do what we love, and we know what we love will work because it's gonna work.
You know, so what's interesting on that, like another description I always use when people ask like what you do, da 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 da. I call myself a firefighter, right? Because you're constantly putting out fires. Like anything that can go wrong will go wrong daily, and you just gotta think.
Can you say that again? Because I think I need to hear that, and I think it's a great thing that people need to hear.
Sure. So being a firefighter in your business is just knowing that anything that can go wrong will go wrong daily, if not by the hour. Like everything that you could have like planned, whether it's like stock, inventory, customers, money. My uncle said to me, you suddenly know when you're in business when you start dealing with cash flow, because when money does arrive and your payment terms were 30 days, 60 days, but you got to get money out. And so yeah, literally problem solving, but knowing that you're dealing with fire, you know, just because so much is going on. That's what you do. And if you enjoy that, then entrepreneurship is for you.
I also want to point out, like, when I asked you to say that twice over, because people, I think when we're in business, yes, we all have our expectation. We always want to give our customers the best, but knowing that we are giving them the best and that we are daily, momently, hourly putting out fires, because everything can go wrong, and everything does go wrong and can go wrong, and on a daily basis. I think people need to hear that nothing is ever there's not a straight road to perfection. Perfection is a winding road, and you learn. Yes, we live in a culture, I think in the age that we live in, that when there's a cancel culture. You get things wrong once, I don't want to use you again. And I, as much as I've been a business person, and as much as I have my own company, and I'm a consumer of other companies as well, one thing I've realized is, like, I actually ask myself, the people that have like not delivered when I've asked them to deliver, I actually still use them.
Yeah, same.
And you know why I still use them is the way they what you said, the way they cancel the fire. Well, the way they extinguish the fire for me. And when I say extinguish the fire, it's how they handled me after that incident had happened, and me understanding that, you know what, Nastassja, put yourself in their shoes and remember, like, you aren't perfect yourself. You are still taking out fires as you are. And when you understand that, you know, like in life, perfection is made by the imperfect balance, then you realize that, you know what, every dog has its day. It's not about just because that person did, you know, that one thing. It's you know, there was a string. It happened. It happened that way because it was meant to happen that way. Something in the earth was meant to happen that way. And what it is how do you, it's the resolution that matters. It's the incident has already happened. You can't go back in time to change that. But what you can do is change the outcome. And I think that's what people are missing these days. Understanding that the incident has happened, but how do we learn from the incident to move it forward and change the outcome? Because that's what matters.
I think that's powerful. I think that's great food for thought. I unfortunately got to be the bad guy today,
but we're gonna end it there because it was a really juicy discussion.
Yeah. We could have kept going.
Yeah, you know, but I think we're gonna do a part 2.
Yeah. There's definitely more to come on. I do want to touch on that cancel culture a bit, especially with Twitter.
I think we should.
Yeah,
I think
100%.
we're going to leave that for another discussion.
Indeed.
I think there's so many sound bites from here today that, like, definitely people are going to enjoy.
100%. Question of the day. I want to actually ask people which episode, it's a kind of different question of the day, which episode they've enjoyed so far. I don't know if you...
that's a nice one. Yeah, we're on our 8th episode and we're 8 episodes in deep. Like 100%. How many hours in deep? Like hundreds of hours, like maybe about like 30 hours. I don't know, on average.
Could be 8 2. Yeah, possible.
About 30 hours in deep. What have you enjoyed so far? And like I would want to know what episode people have enjoyed.
Yeah, and again, what you want to see more of, and any suggestions for like flavour of the continent.
And if you have a flavor of the continent, if you're a food business and you want us to try your food, like, yo, bring it in.
Yeah, 100%. And also, like, if you're interested, I guess, in being on the podcast, hit us up.
Yes.
Let us know who you are, what you do, what you're about, and yeah, let us know your socials. You can find us everywhere. Just search for like Juice and the Sauce Podcast.
And yeah, so that ends it for this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and tune in weekly for your weekly belly full plate of a meal while we juice in and the sauce be dripping.
I love it. All right, guys, I'll see you next time.
Bye.